Rolling. Hey, we're Caleb and Elaine. We're gonna take you through some audio stuff so you don't suck. Hey everyone, we are Caleb and Elaine from KEJ Productions.
We're gonna tell you all about parameters, what you need to know as a filmmaker to successfully manipulate your audio tracks so they sound natural.
Today, we are going to be talking about speaking vocals and how we EQ them. We are using DR-10Ls as our reference track, but it doesn't really change whether it be a different recorder like Zoom or anything like that. If we have a good source audio, typically going to have a really easy time getting this thing EQ'd and gained up and sounding really good for your film. So we're in Final Cut Pro and we're gonna use a linear phase EQ because that is what is stock in Final Cut. So we are typically going to start with a high pass filter in order to get rid of any unwanted lows. So we'll start around 120 Hertz. That's a good starting point for us to be able to just get going here. Let's listen to what that high pass is going to do.
Tanya finally got up the courage to ask Valencia about Jessif, and all I remember was that
So that's pretty subtle, but remember, we don't want to drastically change what the vocal is doing. But I know by cutting up to 120 Hertz, it's gonna clean up the rest of the track, because you have to remember, we have a music bed that's going to be under this. And the music bed
is supporting that bottom end.
In this audio track, I'm hearing a lot of the low mids that are kind of muddying up his vocal. Again, we want them to be as natural sounding as possible. And on the wedding day, I remember what he sounded like. So let's take a listen.
I eventually asked Tony how he felt about the two of them dating, and Tony told me that out of all of his single friends, Jessif would be the only one he would approve of dating his sister.
Okay, so that cleaned him up. You'll notice that I'm doing subtractive EQ. And the reason we are mostly going to do subtractive EQ is because trying to manipulate the vocal by pushing frequencies up to make clarity, it's going to cause issues later down the line. If at any point you're kind of getting confused, Elaine did a really good video about what the spectrum is and what EQ does. So if you need to, you can reference that. So now we'll move into more about like high mids, and I'm gonna do some drastic EQ where I'll add so you can really hear what's going on. Typically around 1K, you're hearing a lot of like the honkiness, like a horn, like
Pee Wee Herman, basically.
Sometimes it can be too aggressive and you need to pull that out.
So Tony's response was all the affirmation I needed.
You can hear it
to know
clearly
that
right
Valencia,
there that it's
he
very
would be in
honky.
good hands. As time went by, I saw more and more of Jessif, and he quickly fit into our...
Even that small little -3 dB cut helped. Okay, let's go on to the next band. Now we're gonna deal with any kind of like sibilance or those kind of S's and things of that sort.
I would purposely observe their interactions with each other, and more importantly, how Jessif treated Valencia. And I can honestly say that it didn't take long for me to see just how head over heels in love they were.
So in this track, his vocal, you're not getting a whole lot of sibilance, so I'm not gonna change it. I think he sounds pretty great in this. There's not a whole lot of distraction that's happening for that. Whenever you get into a track that has a lot of brilliance and like those S's and stuff like that, it's going to be harsh whenever people listen back, and it'll be a distraction. So as I'm listening to this track, I'm using JH Audio in-ears, and what I love about these is that I know them. You can know your iPhone headphones, you can know your Shure cans. With these, I know them. I know how to EQ a vocal that will translate from my in-ears to your other headphones and stuff like that. There's some headphones out there that will boost the lows in order to give you a feeling of like you're at a concert. You wanna make sure that you're EQing to something that isn't characteristically different on the bottom end or on the top end. Just something to think about whenever you're referencing the audio. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and A/B this EQ, turning it on and off to listen to what the track sounded like and what it sounds like now. Just remember, like, you see what's going on with my EQ. It's not drastic. There's not a whole bunch going on because we have set ourselves up for success whenever we mic up the groom or the dad or whoever's officiating,
which we will get to on other videos.
We want to make sure that our source audio is really clean and good. That way, whenever we get into our post-production, we're not having to do a whole lot, and you can see that. So let's go ahead and listen. Here's off.
When Jessup came over to ask Grandpa for his blessing to marry Valencia, I couldn't help but think that Grandpa still viewed Jessup as the little boy that...
It definitely cleaned up the vocal, as you can hear. From here, I would turn on all of my audio tracks and see where it sits in the mix and make final adjustments. We want to make sure that it's just leaving room for other characteristics of the music bed or other vocals and making sure that it ultimately sounds like them and it's the cleanest audio. Hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Like, subscribe. We're gonna be dropping a lot of audio content on our channel for you guys to learn from. Have a great day. No, you didn't like that?
No, yeah.
You looked at me like, you're like, oh, this is freaking bad.
That's why I'm sick. It's just okay.